Chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, bank. That's bank. Enter it now.
FoxPHLGambler.com. Once again, FoxPHLGambler.com right now.
Grease the polls because Bourbon Street has officially turned midnight green. All things Big Game 59 right here on The Gambler.
Finish the story. It's what we've been saying for 2 weeks now, almost 2 weeks leading up to the big game. What does finish the story mean? It means a second Super Bowl for the Philadelphia Eagles franchise. It means ending the run the Kansas City Chiefs have been on, denying them a three-peat. It means history. It means legacy. And it means I'm going to win a bet. I love the Philadelphia Eagles. For the big game, we're going over it all on Finish the Story 59 right here on The Gambler. Jon Jansen here. I have you for the next hour, 6 to 7. And then 7 to 8, we'll get to Joe Tanzi and Luke Arcani as well. Joining us at 6:20 is going to be Jeff Parles of South Point. We'll talk some prop bets with him, who he likes in the game, and obviously where the money will be going. But as you heard there in the open, grease the polls. They're already greased. I'm already planning for the parade. I'm confident the Birds win this game, and I'm confident. I hate to say they win it by a lot. I hate to say comfortably, but they're going to look like the better team. They're going to be the better team in the big game Super Bowl 59. Also, we're going to be going over some plays as well and some other bets on the Cut Sports, the social betting platform Cut as well. So we'll be getting to those. So plenty to go through. But I want to start with this. I like the Eagles' money line. I've been seeing a lot about the Eagles and the motivations that they may have, why they could win this game and everything. It's ending the three-peat. It's getting revenge. It's finishing the story. And I do like it. I do like the finish the story thing. And I understand that that is going to be at the forefront a lot of these because the Eagles did play the Kansas City Chiefs 2 years ago. The Kansas City Chiefs did win that game. It was the start of what could potentially be a three-peat, something that's never been done in the history of the Super Bowl. Nobody's done a three-peat. So yeah, finish the story is a big deal. But it's not, it is a motivating factor to maybe bet this for some. It may be a motivating factor for the Eagles, but I don't think you need motivating factors. I think everybody's trying to come up with motivating factors for the Eagles to win this. They don't need it. There's only one reason why you bet this. And only one reason why I'm betting the Eagles confidently. I bet them confidently in the wild card, the division round, the NFC Championship game, and I'm going to bet them confidently in the Super Bowl. This is the best team in the NFL. This has been the best team in the NFL for a long time. If you're paying attention to the numbers, if you're paying attention to how this team is played, they're the better team. They're the best team in this game. They match up not only well on paper, but they match up in the scoreboard as well. They're winning games the same way Kansas City does. They're just doing it better than the way Kansas City does it. This has been all season long. I get when you end up facing a team like this, and there are like the concerning things. Patrick Mahomes is amazing. Andy Reid is amazing. The Kansas City Chiefs are an amazing team that have defied odds before. This isn't the first time. If they do beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl, this would not be the first time that I thought going into the Super Bowl, they were the worst team in it and won the game. Last year, they did the same thing to San Francisco. San Francisco was the better team than Kansas City going into that one. Kansas City, I think, may have been the worst team that they've had. This version is better than what they had last year. San Francisco was better, and Kansas City won that game. I know that they have the capability of doing that. But this Eagles team is even different from that San Francisco one. It's different than the Eagles team in 22. I think one of the things with being a better team, I know we look at numbers a lot. Jalen Hurts had the better year in 22. Jalen Hurts is by far a better quarterback than he was in 22 than he is in 24. You know, that was That was near a great defense as well. I hate to say number one. I don't know where they finished. The Eagles in 22 finished as the top defense. That was a good defense. That was a really good football team. And by the numbers, if you want to look at historically, by the numbers, what is the best team in franchise history? The numbers tell you 22. 22 was the best team the Eagles have ever had by the numbers. But as we've even seen with Kansas City, sometimes by the numbers doesn't mean you're a better team. Maturity, learning how to win football games, learning as a franchise, because this isn't just the quarterback learn and the players in the field learn. This is front office learn, coach learn. Everybody in that Eagles organization learned from that 2022 season. They learned from even last year of some of the mistakes that they made, corrected all of those things, and now they have put together, I think, maybe the best roster, the most mature roster, the most mature coaching staff. This is a coaching staff that has been in a lot of big games, that has coached in a lot of games. Like, I think that's the difference to me, because we sometimes, and I get caught up in this a lot too, because I look at things like EPA, I look at advanced stats, I look at EPA, completion percentage over expected, rushing yards over expected, a lot of things, analytics, and sometimes I get infatuated by the team that has, a ballooned even DVOA. These numbers that are just like eye-popping, staggering. This team is so great, but it sometimes doesn't to maybe reveal the level of maturity that team has. I think the Eagles have learned to be better in late game situations. I think this may be the best year Sirianni has had as a coach. Started off shaky, but I think this is the best year he has had as a coach. I think he's made the right decisions. I think he has been a positive when it comes to decision-making in the fourth quarter, when it comes to decision-making on fourth downs, whatever the case may be of how Nick Sirianni as a coach affects a game. I think he's been good in those situations. And at least I could say he's gotten better. Jalen Hurts has always been what people say a winner. He's good in late game situations, but even he as a passer had to mature last year, because that was his best year in 2022. That's when Jalen Hurts burst onto the scene. The offense was perfect for him with Shane Steichen there, and he is probably 2022 is going to be Jalen Hurts' best statistical season. I don't think he will ever match that MVP level play that he had, but he doesn't need to. The maturity is knowing that you don't need to be that quarterback, especially with the roster that you have. You don't need to throw turnovers. You don't need to be ultra aggressive. You can be a little bit smarter. You can sometimes miss plays, but don't make the worst play. Jalen Hurts did that a lot last season. For as much as you could put things on coaching staff, all of that. Last year was the quarterback put the ball in harm's way a lot. He hasn't done that at all. There is a level of growth, maturity. It may not be career best years that a lot of these guys are having, but career best years don't always mean Super Bowls. This is a team now that has experience, maturity, growth. And I think this version of this team, I think, understands better how to win a football game as a total, as a team, understands how to win a football game. And a lot of credit has to go to a new coaching staff as well. Kellen Moore has done an excellent job in making sure Jalen doesn't become the turnover-prone quarterback that he was last year. Jalen's been excellent. The offense has been excellent. I think they found an amazing balance between the passing game and the rushing game against Washington. They're going to need to do that against Kansas City. When Kellen Moore is at his best, I think he ends up attacking defense as well, but learning, I think, for him to attack defenses in multiple ways and to be balanced and to use a defense's weakness against them, but do it in a way where you can still do it in multiple kinds of ways. In the running game, the passing game, involve everyone. Thought Kellen Moore did an excellent job against that in Washington. Vic Fangio, he has versatile players. They can play. There are guys that can play multiple positions, play anywhere. They have put guys in positions that they've never played before to start the season, and they're doing well. Zach Bond, obviously, we know is a huge example of that. Rookies have played well. Defensive lineman has played well. Guys have become like Jalen Carter from great to elite in one season. It's a team that has a lot of maturity, a lot of growth. This is the best version of the Eagles. It's not a career best. By the numbers, this isn't the best team potentially in franchise history. But this is certainly a team in the best position, I think, to win. It is a no-brainer to me. It's not motivation. It's not the revenge game factor. It's not ending the three-peat for Kansas City. What it is the Eagles being a better football team. And I think the Eagles are the much better football team. Tune in to finish the story right here on The Gambler. Jeff Parles, you can follow him at Jeff Parles on X. He's going to be joining us at 6:20. Now, I'm going to be interested to hear about the props with him because this game is interesting to me because you have, I think, really good matchups against each other. The Chiefs defense, I think, matches up pretty well against the Eagles, even though I think the Eagles offense is a bit of a better matchup for the Chiefs defense than the other way around because I think it's going to be an amazing chess match between the talent and the guy leading the way in Vic Fangio there on the defensive side for the Eagles, and then Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. There's this amazing chess game that's going to be played between all of them, and it's going to be hard, especially on the Eagles side, to know where exactly they're going to attack Kansas City, how they're going to attack them. I think one of the ways I think that they attack them is in the passing game, and you're going to get the lower numbers there too. It's not like Jalen Hurts is going to be getting a premium dollar for his passing attempts or his passing yards. A lot of the attention is going to be thrown on Saquon Barkley, but we've seen in these games that it's going to take more than just that. The Eagles have to be the best version of themselves outside of just the running game. We know that they're really good at that. We know that that is something that they are capable of. They're most likely going to rush for over 100 yards in this game with Saquon Barkley. They're going to give him the ball plenty. But in order to beat a team like Kansas City, you need more than that. And that's where Jalen Hurts comes in. I think Jalen Hurts has a good game. I think you can attack Kansas City in the secondary. There are going to be times where, Jalen Hurts is likely going to take a sack or two that are going to be really bad, but I think he plays good, turnover-free football, but also is successful and productive in the passing game. Those are the props I want to take. I think you can get a little bit weird with the Eagles just because they are capable of doing so much, and everybody's so focused on the one thing that they do extremely well, that everybody's talking about. Everybody knows about Saquon. Everybody's betting Saquon. I can't imagine many are going to run to the books and to want to bet Jalen Hurts passing yards or Jalen Hurts passing attempts because they're not known for that. And those are the numbers that are going to be, for me, in my kind of price range that I'm like, something that I think is more bettable than Saquon Barkley. I don't know if I'm going to bet many Saquon Barkley props. It's the Super Bowl. It's the most bet on game, and it's the most money that's going to be thrown around. And I'll tell you what, there's probably going to be more money on Saquon Barkley than any other player in this game. I'm assuming so. Most of the money is going to be on Saquon. There's too much attention on him. I want to go maybe where there isn't been attention. I like Jalen Hurts a lot in this game. I think MVP. I think over pass attempts, pass yards, even passing touchdowns. I haven't checked the number for that. I know passing yards can get around minus 140. I don't know how much of the number has changed there, but for over 199.5, love that number. I think Jalen Hurts gets over 200. So if you want to bet 200 plus with Jalen Hurts, you want to take a little bit of juice with it, completely fine with it. I think Jalen Hurts flies over that number. I think he gets close to 240, 250 in this game. But it's hard for a book to maybe put that number there because the attention and the money is all going to one player, and it's Saquon Barkley. Now, what I don't know in the passing game is who it goes to because there's so many threats. So you can take a flyer on a Devontae Smith. You can take a flyer on a Dallas Goedert. A.J. Brown, again, maybe a little bit too much attention towards him that I don't know if I'd want to bet a lot of his props, but he's obviously going to be involved, and I'm sure the Eagles are going to want to get him involved. But I want to go even against the grain a little bit there. Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, if you have to with pass catchers, a Dallas Goedert touchdown, I think also could be a big part in this game. But I just want to stick with the overall passing game, and that obviously goes to Jalen Hurts. Now, if you want to bet him for 2+ touchdowns, I know I heard that earlier with Sean Green, with Sean Brace earlier on the Daily Ticket, which you can listen to every Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 right here on The Gambler, that is still in play for Jalen Hurts. If they're going to move the ball, if they're going to have a possibility to score on this Chiefs defense, it's likely going to end maybe once or twice in a tush push. It ends a lot that way, and it could absolutely end that way in a Super Bowl. And one other thing is Jalen Hurts also ran the ball a little bit more. Now, I don't expect him to do that as much as he did in the Super Bowl last time. I think this will be I want to focus, I guess, more on the passing side of things with Jalen Hurts. So I don't want to go Saquon Barkley, don't want to go A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts to me on the offensive side for the Eagles. On the Kansas City side is where I maybe get a little bit different because I don't want to go with passing attempts with Mahomes. I don't want to go passing yards. They're not an extremely explosive, great passing offense. They have to work a lot to be able to do the things that they do. Now, again, they can because Patrick Mahomes can do a lot of the legwork. Patrick Mahomes is a very good quarterback and can be productive in multiple different ways. I think where the difference has been with him is this isn't an explosive offense. They need to get yards any way they can, and they grind out yards in the run game with Mahomes. They're going to use him in the running game. They're going to use RPOs. They used RPOs exclusively almost on the first drive against Buffalo. They're going to use that. And if you're using RPOs, you're trying to use misdirection, you need, and that's all you have, by the way, is misdirection, eye candy, short yardage stuff. You know, all eyes are going to just be looking in the backfield, looking in front of you because Kansas City does a lot of stuff in the line of scrimmage. They pass the ball a lot behind the line of scrimmage. They pass the ball within 15 yards. Every single defense playing Kansas City is mostly looking 15 yards and in. It's hard to play that way. In order for an offense to be effective that way, quarterback's going to have to run the ball. And with the Eagles, that has to be a threat because the Eagles play so downhill. Their cornerbacks are so aggressive. Their linebackers are so aggressive. One way you can kind of counter that is to have Patrick Mahomes run, and he's very smart with it. He has incredible spatial awareness. He's a really good runner. He's a smart runner. I think Patrick Mahomes over rush attempts, and I think Patrick Mahomes over rushing yards is the play there. Passing, I'm not 100% sure what that's going to look like against this Eagles defense that plays really well at the line of scrimmage, and that's all Kansas City has. So I don't know how explosive they're going to be. I don't want to put money on something as a guess of, well, this guy could be a huge contributing factor in the passing game, and I expect a huge game from this X wide receiver, whether it's Hollywood Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, or Xavier Worthy. I don't feel strongly about any of them. What I do feel strongly about is Kansas City needs to win at the line of scrimmage in a lot of different ways. And one of the ways to do that and to be effective at it, again, against the Eagles defense that is the best in the league, and the best in the league at stopping the things that Kansas City does, you're going to have to involve your quarterback as a runner. And that's where I want to bet Patrick Mahomes there. Tuning to finish the story, Jon Jansen here. I have you till 7 o'clock. Joining me in a bit is Jeff Parles. And I love going back and forth with Parles. I always love making Parles look wrong. And one of the best apps to do that with is Cut, a peer-to-peer social sports betting platform that allows its users to wager on the outcome of sports, politics, pop culture, Oscars, I'm looking at you, finance, and other events in a fun and engaging way. Enough of the opinions and hot takes. I have a few of those. I have a few opinions. I have a few hot takes. But the best way to have those opinions and hot takes, start putting your money where your mouth is. Stop talking and start competing against your friends and other users to prove who really knows what they're talking about. Cut is the ultimate social gaming platform, a mixture of sports, social media, and competitive fun. Put your money where your mouth is. Join Cut today. We'll look at a few of some of those bets over at Cut, the peer-to-peer social betting platform. So we'll get to a bunch of those right here on Finish the Story. Coming up next with Jeff Parles, how is he looking at prop bets? Do we need to go against the grain? Do we stay with Patrick Mahomes passing, Saquon Barkley rushing? How is he getting a little bit different here for the big game? We'll ask Jeff Parles of South Point that coming up next right here on The Gambler.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
We've got down traffic on 42 southbound off the wall, Whitman down to 55. The Pine Expressway, bumper to bumper both ways. Schuylkill to 95. On the eastbound side, watch for a crash in the right lane right near the Ben Franklin Parkway. Eastbound Schuylkill, stop and go Blue Route to Belmont and Montgomery Drive to south. Westbound Jan, University to Vine. Further west, Heavy City to Belmont and Gulf Mills at 202. 95 northbound backed up Allegheny to Bridge. All right, Totella, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Jackson Hewitt. It matters who does your taxes. Jackson Hewitt makes taxes feel like a yacht rock song. Get your max tax refund guaranteed, and new customers get $100 to switch. Don't miss the boat. Book an appointment with experts today. Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
Here we go. Sean Brace for DraftKings Sportsbook. Now, this ain't the little itty bitty teeny tiny bowl. This is the Super Bowl 59, and it's time for you to get on in the action on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. Now, scoring touchdowns is the key to hoisting the Lombardi Trophy, and you could score big by betting on them at DraftKings Sportsbook, the number one place to bet on touchdowns. Are you ready to place your first bet? We'll try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. All you got to do is just go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and make your pick. New DraftKings customers, listen up. You can bet just $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. All you got to do is just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use my promo code BRACE. That's code BRACE for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5, and it's only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Pennsylvania only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with Dayquil VapoCool. It's Dayquil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is Dayquil VapoCool.
Dayquil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
On Saturday, February 22nd at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, it's the Pro Volleyball Federation's first All-Star match. The league's biggest stars will clash in a can't-miss event hosting the Indy metro area, home of the Indy Ignite. Catch every serve, spike, and save live on CBS. Don't miss this historic showdown of volleyball's finest. The Pro Volleyball Federation All-Star Match on February 22nd at 1:30 p.m. Be there.
At Macy's, we're so ready for Valentine's Day. While it might feel like it's still a ways off, it's actually next Friday. Fortunately, that's just enough time for you to find the perfect gifts from our Valentine's Day gift guide. How about a hobo-style handbag from Coach? A 3-piece gift set from Lancome, Estee Lauder, or Clinique? A watch from Michael Kors? Or diamonds and more diamonds? Whatever your love loves, come into Macy's and find the perfect gift for your Valentine before next Friday sneaks up on you like Cupid with a little bow and arrow.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com.
The Birds are on Bourbon Street, and we're all over it for you.
Touchdown! Saquon Barkley!
Right here on The Gambler.
Let's go, Birds!
The Birds are on Bourbon Street, and we're all over it for you. Right here on The Gambler.
Of course, you can create your own bet over a cut, but I've seen some public bets available. Minus 116 money lines. Kansas City a 1-point favorite. I'm seeing a lot of Eagles love over on the Cuts social betting app. So maybe somebody wants to get in on Kansas City. Does anyone? What, Kansas City? Maybe our next guest does. I hope not. Joining us right now on Finish the Story, my name is Jon Jansen, and joining us on the phone over in the desert, in Vegas, at South Point, it is Jeff Parles. You can follow him at Jeff Parles on X. You want to take any of that action, Parles? Are you on Kansas City, or is this all Eagles for you?
Well, I'm going to use an analogy. First off, John, good evening. Good to talk to you as always. Well, it's afternoon here in Vegas, but
Thanks
I
for
know time zones are still a thing. But it's use the analogy that someone used with me for the AFC title game. If the Eagles win, it's going to be, of course, this was the year Kansas City was finally not going to win. They had their flaws. They were lucky at 15-2. They were the best. I mean, they were the best in one-score games. I mean, they are the best team in a one-score game in NFL history again. Of course, they were going to lose. And then on the flip side, if the Chiefs win, it's like, I really bet against Patrick Mahomes in a big game. What the heck is wrong with me? So both of those things make sense, and that was how someone I trust felt about the Chiefs and Bills game. I believe it was my guy Will Hill actually who said that, not the sports book, the man himself. Well, right now, look, I have not played the side. I have not played the total. I have actually don't even have a prop in my pocket yet. Because for whatever reason, I'm waiting this thing out because I don't feel nearly as confident of what will happen in this game as I have Super Bowls past. But if you're making me pick today, sorry, John, sorry, everyone in Philly, I'm not picking against Patrick Mahomes until someone takes him out. And this Philly team is as equipped as anyone over the last 3 years to take out the Kansas City Chiefs in a playoff game.
Are you surprised for the second week in a row that it seems to be the opponent that is getting more of the love than Kansas City?
Well, it's pretty funny, John. If according to a chunk of the public, these games are rigged for Kansas City, so why is everyone betting on Philadelphia?
It's a fair
it goes
question.
Against the narrative, right? It goes completely against the narrative of at least. I'll call it as it is, as the idiot fringe, as I've now branded them the conspiracy theorists with the NFL.
What did you call him? What did you name him?
No, it's just the idiot fringe. They're conspiracy theorists, whatever.
Nice.
I mean, I know conspiracy theories are in vogue right now, but come on, you know how many people would have to get involved in order to have this thing be for Kansas City.
Yeah, if there's one thing that's going to be hard for me to believe, it's sports conspiracy theories. Those are hard to pull off.
Yeah, look, it's one thing for Area 51. It's another thing for that. But
it's another thing for Mahomes to be beaten. Yeah, that's.
Hopefully, I just didn't get on some government list with that. But regardless, no. Look, man, am I a little surprised? Yeah, I'm a little surprised. But I do know that most people have Philadelphia rated ahead of Kansas City out here. But the Mahomes factor is really the biggest reason why Kansas City's favored. Look, I just can't bet against. At this rate, you can't. Like betting against Michael Jordan if you're really betting in the 90s, man. It's just so hard to go against who is the guy who is the most elite, consistent piece there is in the sport.
So I guess the question after that would be, because it would take a pretty special team. You're right. Like, in order for you to want to bet the other team against Kansas City, and for the most part with me too, you would have to believe the team on the other side is that special to do it. I don't think Buffalo was special enough to do it. They were good, and they potentially, because they played Kansas City so often through the past 3 or 4 years, that there was a potential to do that. But I don't think that team talent-wise was nearly as special to be able to want to bet Buffalo. I think for the Eagles, to me, they are. What's holding you back from maybe, I'm sure, I think you even just said, the Eagles are equipped to do it. They're good. What's holding you back from being good at, or that special to be able to take down what is, obviously, it seems like a juggernaut in Kansas City?
It's just Mahomes himself. It's that simple, John. It's just Mahomes himself. You don't, at least for me, so I've bet against Mahomes in 2 playoff games, twice. They were both Bengal AFC championship games. Lived to tell the tale the first time around. The second time, remember Mahomes had the gimpy ankle and is really Cincinnati was, looking back, it's kind of crazy. Cincinnati's a 1-point favorite in that game. And Mahomes and Kansas City found a way, and then they beat the Eagles, obviously, 2 weeks later. But it's just as simple as Mahomes, man. I can't get there to bet against him. It's just too difficult when it's all said and done to bet against him. And look, the Eagle defense this year is much better than it was 2 years ago. I don't think anyone's arguing on that. But it's still hard to go against Patrick in these sort of games, man. It's just all that is, John.
Talking with Jeff Parles here on Finish the Story. Jon Jansen here hosting Finish the Story. I have you until 7 o'clock. And then from 7 to 8, you can hear Luke Arcani and Joe Tanzi. So I want to get to more of the prop bets because you talk a lot about Patrick Mahomes. I think there's two guys in terms of prop bets that I think a lot of people are going to want to bet. And that's Patrick Mahomes and want to bet specifically Patrick Mahomes passing numbers. Then also on the other side, Saquon Barkley. He's the focal point of the Eagles offense. He's what makes the machine go for the Eagles. I'm kind of leaning in the opposite direction for both. But how has it been difficult to find prop bets knowing that this seems to be so focused on just one player for each team?
Oh yeah, it's been much harder than usual, John. And you know what? Maybe because the matchup's so even. Maybe because it's like if Philadelphia came, it's so weird, and it's only a difference of 2 points. But we know how big of a difference 2 points is. If this had come Philadelphia won, I'd probably be betting on Kansas City in this game. Or if Philly was the favorite, be like, all right, I'll give Mahomes as a dog. But, you know, yes, it is hard because of that this go around. Like, also, too, like every Super Bowl victory for Kansas City, a random guy has done something gigantic. Now, Damian Williams wasn't that random in the first Super Bowl win, but in hindsight 2020.
Do you know how long ago Damian Williams feels?
Oh,
like, we think the Patrick Mahomes thing is just starting, and this thing's been going on forever.
I mean, 2019 might as well be 1979 at this point. But yeah, but Damian Williams that year. That's my point, John. Like, and then the Eagles Super Bowl. I mean, Kadarius Toney got laughed out of the NFL, and he was great in that game. Guy Moore had no regular season touchdowns and scored a touchdown in that game. And then last year, McCole Hardman, who couldn't hack it with the New York Jets, scored the winning touchdown. So, like, there's going to be a random chief, whether it's Juju Smith-Schuster, whether it's Samaje Perine, whether it's Justin Watson or Noah Gray, there's going to be one of those dudes is going to do something special in this game. And whoever it is going to be someone random. So it makes it a little bit difficult to handicap the cheap props. Like, yeah, I want to fade Pacheco, but his numbers are so low at this point that it's kind of hard to. Kareem Hunt has scored a touchdown in every playoff game he's played in. Do you want to take a yes touchdown on Kareem Hunt? I don't know. I don't know if the price is good enough. On the Eagles side, it's very hard when, John, there's really only 4 skill position players that are really even worth anything on the Eagles side, right? It's Barkley, it's Goddard, it's AJ, and it's Devontae, right? That's it for the skill position guys. So there's not really that depth unless if you're like, you want to take Grant Calcaterra over a catch, over half a catch? Yeah, maybe. Like John Dotson obviously paid off big time in the NFC wild card round, but since then John Dotson hasn't had a target. So it's very hard for me to look at this on the in this game and look at the props in a similar fashion to what I normally do in these props, John. It is very difficult.
Yeah, it has been. So that's why I'm trying to go against the grain with those great players in different ways. So for the Eagles, it's Jalen Hurts. I think I want to bet more, and I'm going to bet more on the passing side of things. The rationale being Kansas City Chiefs, yes, you need to run the ball against Kansas City. Saquon Barkley needs to be good, maybe special to beat a team like Kansas City, but you don't beat Kansas City just doing that. You have to do multiple things really well. And I think the passing game is going to have to get involved. And also, the props are so far down. Nobody's betting Jalen Hurts passing props. All of these bets, everybody, all eyes are on Saquon Barkley and the Eagles running game. So it just feels like I can sneak kind of behind all of that bet some Jalen Hurts passing props and maybe get some easy winners. But Jalen Hurts is a passer. I know it gets made a lot of. I think heading into the playoffs, that was one of the biggest questions, especially because Hurts was out for 3 weeks with a concussion. What is the passing game going to be like? I think it really got going against Washington. Now, Washington's defense, obviously a lot worse than most of the defenses that they've played heading into the playoffs and into the Super Bowl. But still, the passing game looked better than it has, and they still have special players. Is that maybe one way to go against the grain? When I say Jalen Hurts passing props, how do you take that?
I mean, you're trying for something that's against the market, right, John? I mean, that's not a bad way to do it. I actually kind of want to fade Jalen Hurts' rushing yards in this game.
Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah,
I think you're in a scenario. Where you're looking at the Chiefs trying to take away the ability of Hurts to run, which again we've seen at times. It's so interesting, John, because like I think you tweeted about this, and you also mentioned it a little bit just now. The Commander matchup was in retrospect, was a great matchup for Jalen Hurts. Unlike the Ram game, where the Rams' pass rush was good enough to get home, and their secondary was good enough in order to do that. Now, there's a question. I think Kansas City's secondary and pass rush is good enough to get home against this elite O-line. But John, I will tell you this. I think this is a game. It's very simple handicapping wise. If Saquon Barkley's props go over, the Eagles are probably going to win this game. And Saquon Barkley's probably going to be the MVP of the game also. And that probably means that Jalen Hurts had a lesser passing day and a lesser running day. So, yeah, look, you can go with Jalen Hurts looking at the passing props, but I would be cautious of that because I really do think the Philadelphia path to victory is a Saquon Barkley big day here in this one.
Speaking of MVP, I think we've pretty much nailed down that this is a game of very few players to want to bet on, to be willing to bet on. MVP feels that way as well. Is there a market in MVP that interests you at all? We've already, I think, talked about enough. This is not the best one to go off the board, and it seems kind of odd to go off the board in some ways. But I think there's three players: Patrick Mahomes, Saquon Barkley, who are at the top, and then Jalen Hurts. Have any of those three interested you?
I probably will take both Mahomes and Barkley at plus prices, John. I really just don't see. And look, could Hurts do what he did 2 years ago? And quite frankly, if the Eagles had won the Super Bowl, Hurts would have been unanimous in that game because Mahomes and Hurts were, I mean, look, he was basically dead even. Mahomes was the slightest of things better, and that ended up being the margin in the game. But I think it's Barkley. I think it's Mahomes. I think the narrative is just so strong on the Saquon ends of things that he's going to have a huge day for Philadelphia to win. And if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, who else is winning?
It's only Patrick Mahomes, yeah.
I mean, Kelsey is the only other option.
I don't even think that's an option.
The only other option. I do, because there's a scenario where Kelsey goes 10 catches, 115 yards, multiple touchdowns, and he could win it. But no one else is doing that. None of the other wide receivers are capable of that. They're not giving it to Worthy even if he has a huge day. They'd give it to Mahomes in that spot. And if going back to Damian Williams again, if Damian Williams didn't win it in 2019, there's a 0% chance a Kansas City running back can win it. So unless we get some look, we could get some. The only way it's not one of those three guys, unless if Kelsey goes off, is if we get some oddball nonsense like that New England Rams Super Bowl a few years ago. Like that's the only way I see it there, John.
Let's please not get that New England Rams Super Bowl again.
I'm good with passing that too, man. I don't need that again.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of fun to watch that one. I think this. Are you having fun talking about this match? Is this a fun matchup to you? Because I think when it first got, it was going to be. Eagles Chiefs, and everybody first knew that. That was it's an immediate reaction of we don't like either of these teams. This isn't a fun matchup. Oh my God, it's these teams again. How is this a fun matchup to you?
Yes, of course it is. And people just need to stop whining. That's really all it is. And also, too, there's always, it's very funny, John. The predominant, other than the fringe that I was talking about before, the predominant take from that have been people from Boston. And I don't give a crap what people from Boston have to say about this game. I don't care. I just, whatever. It's so funny. This narrative that I'm about to go off topic here for a second, and I apologize, but I think it'll be okay. It's so funny. You got people being like, "Oh, Brady never got the calls that this Kansas City team got." Do we not have any memory past 7 years? What the heck is wrong with everybody at this point? The New England teams were much more unlikable than the Kansas City teams. They got as many breaks as this Kansas City team, probably even more. Belichick, Andy Reid is a saint in comparison to what Bill Belichick acted like in that run. It's just nonsense, this whole thing. All the Chiefs have done, all right, sure, there have been some moments where the officiating has been questionable. Fine. But it was questionable. The Eagles championship should have come against the Jacksonville Jaguars, if not for a horrible officiating call. Let's just remember that for a second.
That's right. We could have seen Blake Bortles and Nick Foles in a Super Bowl.
The Miles Jack play is it gets lost in history. That's one of the bigger screw-ups by the officials in the last 15 years. It legitimately cost the Jacksonville, it's so funny, the Jacksonville Jaguars a Super Bowl, and Blake Bortles a Super Bowl appearance, which, by the way, was the greatest, and it would be the greatest anomaly in NFL history if that had happened.
More than Nick Foles?
But the Eagle team was unbelievably
That's true.
good,
That's
though.
true. That's true. That was a great Jaguars defense.
Yeah, but that team wasn't that good, though.
No, it was not.
Do you remember? Do you remember, John? Forget the Pittsburgh game is one of the most fun playoff games I can remember. That 45-42 game. You remember how bad that first playoff game they had against Buffalo was? That game had one touchdown in it, and it was scored by your boy James O'Shaughnessy. That's how bad the game was. Also, good that I pulled James O'Shaughnessy.
That was an amazing pull. Well done.
But it's just it's the matchup is great. Is there a little Kansas City fatigue? Sure. But most of this is because people just love to whine about anything that doesn't go their way these days. And it's so frustrating. And it's so frustrating to see the freaking New England era get rewritten
I hate
it's just shut up. The New England era, that was miserable. And quite frankly, look, this may be more dominant. And look, talk to me if Kansas City racks off 7 out of 10, which with 15, I think it's in play they could do 7 out of 10, especially with the fact that in the AFC, we love making excuses for Josh Allen. We really love making excuses for Lamar Jackson at this point. Joe Burrow's team hasn't been in the playoffs the last 2 years. Who's beating them in the AFC until proven otherwise? They could keep going back at this rate.
That is Jeff Parles. You can see his tweets at Jeff Parles. You can listen to him at Sports by the Book, hosting that for South Point Studios. What do you guys got going on this weekend for the big game?
Well, we got our usual coverage. We'll be there. We'll be on the air 9 a.m. on Thursday, 9 a.m. on Sunday. Sunday, we're still determining how long the show will be, but it'll likely be an hour or 2 hours. Getting you ready for the doors to open at the South Point party, the best free party in Las Vegas, John. So if you happen to be coming out to Vegas for the game, and come to the South Point, unbelievable party with cheap drink and food costs. And by the way, no cover also to get in, which is good. You just have to be able to grab a seat. And then Saturday we're at 8:30 in the morning Pacific time, 11:30 Eastern, and then Football Friday will be at 5 o'clock Eastern time. Bookmakers galore. We're getting you ready for the game on that Friday more so than anything.
Real quick, I'm seeing an amazing menu for the big game food over at South Point. What's the first thing you're grabbing for the big game food menu?
I always just get the chicken tenders. But it's look, the beer prices are where it's at, man. It is affordable. It is good. It's a fun party up there, and also too, like, John, if you ever get your behind out here for March Madness, that's also a great March Madness party as well. So, but yeah, no. By the way, John, I'm very curious to see how this game plays out. I think the only thing I feel 100% certain of is we're going to get a classic. We got the two best teams in the NFL. We got the best quarterback in the NFL against the best defense in the NFL. It's going to be a heck of a game, and I know once the game starts, until the first officiating call that goes Kansas City's ways, everyone will stop whining at least for a little bit.
Yeah, that'll never happen. It's going to continue no matter what. But Jeff Parles,
whatever. Look, people love their complaining, John.
Yes, you know what? I love to complain a little bit sometimes too.
We all do, but it's ridiculous when it comes to this. It's really just whatever. Just don't rewrite the New England era because you're upset that there's a new dynasty. Like, come on.
That's a good way to end this. Jeff Parles, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, of course, John.
You can follow him at Jeff Parles on Twitter, and of course, Sports by the Book over at South Point. You can listen to as well. Plenty of great programming there. You're listening to Finish This Story. Put your money where your mouth is over at Cut. Cut is a new way to bet. Bet directly against your friends and other users on sports, entertainment, politics, and more. Go to cut.com, KUTT.com. We're actually going to go. So if you want to follow, download the Cut betting app, social betting platform that allows users to wagers on the outcome of sports, politics, pop culture, finance, and other events in a fun and engaging way. Download it. Follow me along here. You can use the promo code GAMBLER over at Cut. Let's go over some of the public bets that are available to be made over at Cut. That's next. Don't finish the story.
Looking to elevate your golf game? Welcome to Penn Club on 2nd in the heart of Conshohocken. With over 350 courses to choose from, 3 state-of-the-art simulator bays powered by TrackMan technology, and a members-only clubhouse open 7 days a week. We're all about the ultimate golfing experience. Enjoy the perks of a family-owned club with affordable membership options for individuals, teams, and even corporate groups. Conveniently located near major highways, you can bring your own beverages and enjoy top-notch food at restaurants nearby. Visit pc2conchi.com to find your membership today.
The Gambler and Gary Barbera on the Boulevard want to put $1,000 in your hand. Keep it locked right here to the Gambler for your chance to win $1,000, all courtesy by our friends over at Gary Barbera on the Boulevard. Each weekday, that's 9 times a day, you'll hear a keyword at the top of the hour, and you could win $1,000. So, is the Gambler and Gary Barbera the best? Boy, I guess.
Gary Barbera's Super Gold to stay in control of the most cheap sold for $16,666. Right, Brendan Graham?
Boy, I guess.
Boom, shakalaka.
Cheap. Coach Sirianni, is Barbera the best? Boy, I guess. Go Birds.
I know, yeah, that was still some.
Here we go. Sean Brace for DraftKings Sportsbook. Now, this ain't the little itty-bitty, teeny-tiny bowl. This is the Super Bowl 59, and it's time for you to get on in the action on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. Now, scoring touchdowns is the key to hoisting the Lombardi Trophy, and you could score big by betting on them at DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet on touchdowns. Are you ready to place your first bet? We'll try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. All you got to do is just go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and make your pick. New DraftKings customers, listen up. You can bet just $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. All you got to do is just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use my promo code BRACE. That's code BRACE for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5, and it's only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Pennsylvania only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Are you annoyingly inattentive? Do you watch a movie and then ask a zillion questions because you weren't paying attention? Do people ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should get a mattress from Mattress Firm. They can help anyone sleep. Mattress Firm's President's Day sale is happening now. Get a king bed for a queen price. Save up to $700 plus a free adjustable base with select Sealy mattresses. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or mattressfirm.com for details.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, you know, to check that your seats aren't in the visitor section first before buying tickets.
I'm so excited for this game. I can't believe you got us tickets.
Me too. Wait, are we on the wrong side?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
This is going to be a long game.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Smithbrook, Illinois.
Hers weight loss is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions apply. Wegovy and Ozempic are not compounded.
With hers, you can access doctor-trusted weight loss plans, like compounded GLP-1 weekly injections with the same active ingredient as Ozempic and Wegovy. Based on pricing through hers, save up to 91% per month with compounded semaglutide, the same active ingredient as the name brand drug. Get started at forhers.com/start today. That's forhers.com/start.
I'm 6ABC Action News meteorologist Brittany Boyer with your latest forecast. We are tracking a messy winter storm that arrives late tonight. The cold air is locked in, temperatures overnight in the 20s to around 30 degrees. And as precipitation moves in, we'll first see a period of snow showers. Rain. Be prepared for a very slow Thursday morning commute, and eventually temperatures will start to rise throughout the day on Thursday, transitioning any precipitation into rain and highs in the low 40s.
This report is sponsored by eBay. Swapping out your tires, there's nothing like it. With eBay, you find the feel you're looking for. From smooth highway rides to grip for rough terrain. Get all the tires you need at prices you'll love. eBay, things people love.
I'm Greg Rosenthal, host of NFL Daily. Join me live from Radio Row in New Orleans. I'll be interviewing the NFL's biggest names all week long. NFL Daily will have you ready for this year's big moment. Will it be Mahomes completing the three-peat or Jalen Hurts avenging their Super Bowl 57 loss? We'll be there on the field after the game. Full recap, interviews with this year's Super Bowl champions. Don't miss it. Listen to NFL Daily on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow NFL Daily and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today.
The Birds are on Bourbon Street, and we're all over it for you.
Touchdown! Saquon Barkley!
Right here on The Gambler.
Let's go, Birds!
Coming up at the top of the hour at 7 o'clock, it is going to be Joe Tanzi and Luke Arcaney continuing our coverage of the big game. Finish the story. Joe and Luke will have you for that 7 o'clock hour coming up next. I still have you till 7 o'clock. Let's head on over to the Cut peer-to-peer social betting app. And there are plenty of plays on the Eagles. Now, the great thing about Cut, though, is that you can create your own bet. You can create your own odds. I think this is a good opportunity. You know, I've been seeing it a lot, and this is almost a put your money where your mouth is for maybe me and for some Eagles fans. You can move this line. I think one way to entice, if you really like the Eagles, because I'm not going to say, hey, go on there, Kansas City could be a good bet. And I think in some ways, yes, and Parles laid that out very well, that this is a game that you still want to lean towards the Kansas City side because everybody's kind of betting on Kansas City or betting on the Eagles. Why wouldn't you want to go with the guy that's won 3 Super Bowls already, that has already beat this team and the Eagles before? That just seems, and this team, Kansas City, with Mahomes and Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, just seems unstoppable. No matter what goes against them, no matter what is not in their favor, they always just seem to win. And they're just that talented, that good, and that smart of a football team. So if you want to, over at Cut, KUTT.com. KUTT, you can look up as well on any of your app platforms that you want to look up and download the app for. So you can find a Kansas City bet. I think a good way to do this, though, and I've been seeing a lot of alt spreads for the Eagles. If you want to create your own bet, I would do that. Why not take the Eagles? Now, you would have to do something to entice somebody to take Kansas City, but to me, a -2.5, -3, get yourself some more plus money there, because I think the payout would be enticing. If you do like the Eagles that much, and I do, I'd be willing to take them more 3. I've seen all spreads of 6.5. That's a little bit too much for me. I don't want to go over a touchdown, but I'm seeing this game around 28-24, 28-23. I can go a little bit higher. If you want to bet the Eagles money line, I'm sure there's somebody that would be enticed enough to take Kansas City on the other side, but I'm seeing a lot of Eagles love. The enticing thing to do for me would go over to Cut, again, KUTT, KUTT.com, and I would actually bump up that Eagle spread a little bit. I'd be enticed to get more plus money out of it. You're going to entice somebody to try and get Kansas City at a really good number. If you want to get it at the field goal, it's going to be tight, but I think the Eagles are the better team. I think they win this game. So that's one way to do it. Also at Cut, I think one of the interesting ones, John Baptiste is doing, Batiste is doing the national anthem. I think that's going to go over. That dude is a genius right now on Cut. The money line for the over 120 seconds is actually at +110. I would go over on that one because John Baptiste is a musical genius. He's going to play around with that melody somehow, and in doing that, he's going to lengthen the national anthem. This guy's a genius. If you've ever seen it, there's great videos of John Baptiste listening to, I think there's a video of him listening to a Green Day song and putting piano to it. All he's hearing is vocals. He puts piano to it. This dude is a genius. He thinks of different ways and looks at melodies in different ways. It's amazing. But also, if you're going to do that, you're probably going to make the thing longer. So I do like that over 120 seconds at +110. Also, what will the first commercial be after kickoff be? So after kickoff, you get to the first commercial break of like the game. After kickoff. What will the first commercial be? Movie commercial at +350. Now, I only say, and I feel good about this one at +350 because Captain America comes out next week. They are going to win, and they are going to have a presence at the Super Bowl. And they have almost unlimited money as a studio. And of course, they're going to put unlimited money in marketing after how much money they just paid Robert Downey Jr., after how much money they just paid Chris Evans. They're going to want to put this money back into the machine because it hasn't been as good lately. And one way to do that is to have your biggest one of your biggest marquee names franchise, even though Chris Evans isn't Captain America anymore. Captain America is still one of your marquee franchise names. You're going to want to put something behind that. And I think they will. I actually like it at +350 for that to be the first commercial. It's movie commercial. I can't think of any other movies that are coming out. Like Wicked Part 2 is coming out. I don't think they're going to do anything yet with that, even though they could. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of a teaser or something. But to me, Captain America is going to have a presence. I think it's the first commercial after the kickoff. So I like that, or at least I like it getting it +350. Plenty of ways, though, to bet over a Cut. Again, KUTT. Cut is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that allows its users to wager on the outcome of sports, politics, pop culture, finance, and other events in a fun and engaging way. One way I got into it, the first way I got into it with Cut, was the Oscars. Guess what's coming up in March? Yeah, we got Oscars soon as well. So plenty of ways to engage over Cut. Enough of the opinions and hot takes. Stop talking. Start competing. That's a good way to do it. Jeff Parle said it. Everybody's whining nowadays. Stop the damn whining. How about you put your money where your mouth is? Start competing against your friends and other users to prove who really knows what they're talking about. Cut is the ultimate social gaming platform, a mixture of sports, social media, and competitive fun. Put your money where your mouth is. Join Cut today. So go download the app, Thank you to them for joining us, or at least for having a presence here on The Gambler and Finish the Story. My name is Jon Jansen. That is it for me. You can follow me at jjansen34. Coming up next, two of the GOATs here, The Gambler. Two of my favorites to listen to, Joe Tanzi and Luke Arcani. They're going to be talking some big game, some Finish the Story. Coming up next, they have you for the 7 o'clock hour right here on The Gambler.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.